Welcome everyone to the EOS Community Fireside Chat for February 22nd, 2023. My name is Stephane. I'm one of the co-founders of EOS Nation. We're currently a top-ranked block producer on EOS and other Antelope chains, and I'm happy and honored to be your host for today. Thank you to Andrew, our guest host of last week, who did a great job filling in for me while I took a bit of time away from the computer. Although it was great to tune into the fireside anyways and kind of just be here as a guest. So that was fun. Of course, we've got a great fireside session planned for everyone today. Includes the following topics. A couple of new initiatives are funded via the grant framework. We've got the EVM name service, the peer-to-peer request for proposal has been approved, and a Defibox Vault has just been approved. For those of you out there on GitHub, you could have seen this happen. We were also talking about the Facings interview with Robrigo and a demo of the stuff they've been working on. Of course, last week we had the big Binance AMA and EOS Learn and Earn program that was launched. The ENF announced very recently that they joined the Canadian Blockchain Consortium. We've got Pomelo updates, of course. Season 5's open for grant applications. We got some NFT news as well. And EOS continues to be ranked #1 in China. And at the same time, ENF has confirmed the Hong Kong office is going to be open soon. All right, but before we get into all of those great topics, of course, let me do my introduction. This week, I'm actually going to be reading from a recent blog article called Towards a More Robust and Autonomous EOS Ecosystem. It's been posted on the EOS Network blog just recently and kind of gives a good overview of some of the history of EOS and how we led to a fairly historic MSIG that was signed just recently. So let me get into it. So the EOS network continues to serve as a remarkable case study on the potential for Web3 network evolution. Since the EOS Network Foundation first emerged when endowed with the resources necessary to champion the interests of the EOS network, it has pressed forward to establish multiple programs for public goods funding while cultivating a strong team capable of pursuing renewed development on behalf of the EOS network. In recent days, the EOS network adopted a new proposal that enables the programmatic issuance of network funds to reliably sustain organizations such as DNF that work for the benefit of the EOS ecosystem. To get a better understanding of the milestone that was just crossed and its significance for the future of the network, let's take a brief look at the history of governance and tokenomics on EOS thus far. EOS network governance. EOS, the consensus mechanism, is delegated proof of stake. There are 21 active BPs that act as representatives of the token holders, allowing them to efficiently reach governance decisions. The pre-public goods era of EOS. When EOS first launched, it had an annual issuance of 5%. The block producers received 1% and 4% was accumulated in a savings account, which would be for a worker proposal system that would leverage this 4% issuance to fund public goods and ecosystem growth. Unfortunately, despite multiple attempts to launch a worker proposal system, no system of the sort ever materialized. Without a trustworthy vehicle for distributing that 4%, block producers burned this accumulated EOS twice for 34 million in 2019 and 2020, and the issuance rate was then reduced to 1%. The EOS network had enough incentives to operate its infrastructure reliably, but lacked a foundation or any ability to meaningfully coordinate or self-direct resources towards the development of public goods. The DAO that hired a foundation. On August 25th, 2021, the EOS network, a decentralized autonomous organization, approved the proposal put forward by Yves. This proposal called for the creation of an EOSIO grants account, the reactivation of the EOSIO savings account with 2% inflation, and the approval of an initial transfer of 3.4 million EOS. With these actions, the EOS Network Foundation was born. Sowing the seeds of trust, a joint effort with the EOS Network. In the 18 months since the formation of the ENF, a positive network impact has undoubtedly been manifest. A series of blue papers have been funded and authored that gave rise to several key development initiatives. Several public good funding mechanisms, such as Pomelo and the Direct Grant Framework, have emerged. The multi-network Antelope Coalition was formed. Crucial development milestones have been reached, along with major technical technological innovations being realized. At the same time, the ENF's commitment to transparency through regular quarterly reports, project health updates, fireside chats, and other key initiatives have continued to increase the frequency and quality of information being made available to the EOS community. The rise of the new EOS. With the ENF consistently delivering on its stated goals and strengthening its capacity to act across a variety of domains, the new EOS is now emerging. A couple key developments in the latter parts of 2021 and 2022 ensured the network's autonomy and galvanized its capacity for sustained investment and ecosystem development in years to come. On September 21st, 2022, the EOS community engineers led by the ENF rallied and forked the stable EOSIO 2.0 code repository into the new Antelope protocol. With this move, the EOS network declared its independence. On November 12, 2022, the EOS network reached a consensus to fund EOS Network Ventures with 68 million EOS that had been previously burned in 2019 and 2020. With this seed investment from the EOS network itself under control of the EOS Fund Management, the intention is to become a minority partner in the larger EOS Network Ventures Fund, which will focus exclusively on projects building on EOS by making strategic, equity, and token-based investments into tech startups across the Web3 space with a focus on GameFi, Metaverse, esports, NFTs, fintech, Web3 businesses, and entrepreneurs building on the EOS public blockchain. The evolution towards an autonomous ecosystem. The epic string of developments over the last year and a half brings us back to the pivotal MSIG of recent days. On February 7th, the EOS network block producers approved an MSIG that adds a smart contract to the EOSIO savings account. This smart contract now enables the network issuance that flows into the EOSIO savings to be programmatically distributed to other accounts and receive ongoing funding directly from the EOS network. In the near term, the default perimeter for this smart contract directs 100% of the funding allocation to the EOSIO grants account, which is managed by the ENF. However, with the introduction of a system contract that allows issuance to be programmatically distributed, this opens the door for organizations to receive ongoing funding directly from the EOS network and creates a pathway towards the evolution of a robust ecosystem of contributors being funded directly by the network rather than exclusively through intermediaries such as the ENF. Right now, the ENF is directing all funds to ecosystem initiatives as they're being battle tested and proven for their viability and reliability. Over time, the EOS network community will be able to identify essential programs and work to establish them as autonomous parts of the network operation with direct funding from the network itself. Today, there's nothing standing in the way of an entity requesting direct programmatic issuance from EOSIO saving by presenting the block producers with an MSIG proposal. However, for such a proposal to succeed, it would need to be approached with great care, through preparation, solid reputation, and likely the support of existing network custodians and operators. Such a day will inevitably come as we continue our evolution towards a more robust and autonomous EOS ecosystem. Concluding thoughts. In less than 18 months, the EOS community took control of its own destiny and has gone from an ecosystem with no funding outside of block producer rewards to empowering the ENF as an established entity for managing core development, grants, and public goods. Soon, another independent entity in the form of the EOS Network Ventures will come online to oversee venture capital deployment for innovative new business models leveraging EOS. The network has never been in a better position to chart its own course and achieve the potential we have long sought to realize. With our newfound ability for programmatic funding within the EOS ecosystem, we've secured the capacity for network custodians, such as the ENF, to continue directing resources on behalf of the network while opening up a whole new world of possibilities for greater network participation and autonomy. The potential for EOS as a DAO of DAOs is now beginning to come into focus. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that reading of the recent blog post. I enjoyed reading it and activating my my voice changer. Hopefully that worked out for everyone. All right. Thank you for everyone who joined so far. We've got over 50 people live with us on Discord. That's great. We're also streaming live to Twitter, to Facebook, to YouTube, to all the places. We'd love to hear your comments, thoughts, questions, reactions to the news of the week that we discuss. Feel very free to jump into the conversation at any point. Just unmute yourself and say hi. That's how we roll out here. If you don't join us on stage, or you can still do your part to make this show as engaging as possible. Share your memes in the chat. Spam those emoji reactions. We've added an overlay to the video production that's now going to show these emoji reactions to everyone. So it's great. Let's see more emojis out there. And all right. So there we go. Let's get into the topics for the day. Glad you enjoyed it, Lovejoy. That's, I think, mostly his blog post that I read there. All right, so we've got a lot of new initiatives that have been funded via the grant framework, which was referenced in the intro, of course. So there's 3 of them actually very recently that were funded. The peer-to-peer RFP was approved. A EOS virtual machine name service was also approved, and as well a Defibox Vault grant was approved. So to kick it off, let me invite actually Yves, if Yves is around, to talk a bit about the peer-to-peer request for proposal that was sent out.
I don't think Yves is around.
Oh, Yves is not around. Too bad.
Is Yves around?
I think he is. I'm
not sure. Oh, I saw a little smiley face. All right, at least I made one person laugh with my dad jokes. Yeah, or it's just the one same person that's spamming it at this point. Yes, the peer-to-peer. Actually, there's a couple of things, and I'll try to drop maybe some alpha in there. So for those who've been paying attention to the coalition calls, oh, I'm hearing myself. There are we went over an RFP that lasted quite some time, actually. So this peer-to-peer networking code rewrite, the idea behind it started really early on. It actually started like the first time we talked about this was before the coalition was even formed. It was early on when the ENF was formed, because it was one of those items that had been sitting stagnant since maybe the dates are off on this, but even before mainnet launch. This is how old this item is. By the time the network launched, it had code on peer-to-peer networking that even at that time was already seen as being somewhat inadequate, but it was functional, and basically we've been patching it for the last 4 years. And so early on, it was highlighted as not necessarily a priority in the sense of if you don't do it tomorrow, it's no good, but a long-lasting piece of technical debt, essentially, that at some point, if we were to address it, it would likely create a lot of value for a very specific type of application. And so we put that out as the coalition in terms of priority early on. There was only one bidder at that first round. The scope was much larger, and it was a complete rewrite, and it had, without going into too much technical detail, it had a component of, how do I say this? Like, let's say BitTorrent type of peering. I forget the name of that, but essentially like meshed peering type of thing, a la BitTorrent kind of thing. And so we rescoped that down. Ultimately, we went through a second round of RFP, and at that round, we got 2 different applicants, and we kind of broke this up in different pieces. So there was a smaller scope of work, but there was also one component of the scope of work that's a little bit more high risk that we deemed the likelihood of somebody external coming in being able to tackle that was extremely low, because the likelihood of this being somewhat tricky to do, a certain amount of skill set being required, and the risk if this wasn't done properly, the risk was at a certain level high enough. And so we kind of split that part up but there are components that we'd like to do that are not necessarily high risk, that even if it weren't done, or if what kind of results from this is not necessarily excellent, that there's still value there. And so we split that up in two. And then we got those two applicants, completely different price points. We talked about this in the coalition. And ultimately, what we landed on, which is pretty exciting, is we've effectively split up the RFP in two different teams with two different functions. So OCI, which is the team that we've been working with, that is one of the few teams that can take on protocol level work outside of the NF engineers, outside of the other group that is, I guess, now came out of this coalition and has been able to work on protocol level things, which is the UX team. Outside of this, there's only one more team, and it's OCI that's been doing this. And part of the idea with the coalition that we talked about early on was that we want to be able to expand, and even prior to the coalition, but we want to expand the amount of teams that can work on protocol level features or protocol level code. I'm oversimplifying everything, but I think you kind of get the gist. We now, with this particular RFP, have assigned the less riskier but still very important component of a peer-to-peer networking code rewrite to Fudan University. Fudan University is one of the top-rated universities in China. I believe it's either ranked third or fourth, which is very significant. So it's in Xiamen. Xiamen is the southern, I guess it's very close to Taiwan. If you're in Xiamen, you can see Taiwan. If you look at the distance and you're on the shore. And so it's got a really good reputation university. It's got a professor and their basically engineering students at the PhD level that bid for this project. Parallel to this, we're assigning part of that work to OCI. So the people that actually wrote this in the beginning are going to be rewriting some parts of this. And so it's kind of a multi-pronged approach. And the coalition essentially landed on that decision because we wanted to ensure that we can continuously expand on the level of the number of teams that are capable on taking protocol level code, and expanding on that, kind of that vision, as is what we've been doing for a while also being cognizant that there's still some components that realistically very few people can tackle because it's extremely deep in the weeds. And so with this particular RFP, we're able to do both. And it's the first time we've been able to do that. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty cool. It's also expanding in a region where we don't have core protocol developers outside of the ENF, because the ENF has folks in Hong Kong. This is in the community. And so Wax was a big proponent of this as well. They really championed this because they're also looking that a large part of their community is that in that part of the world, in being able to expand on teams that are capable of taking protocol level work in that part of the world is also something we've not done before. So this is extremely exciting. It's really cool. We're looking forward to see what they'll be able to deliver. Ideally, this goes really well, and we've just found another team that we're going to be able to partner with. And continuing down that train of thought, ideally, we're going to have more and more teams so that at some point, maybe somebody that's wearing 12 hats can take off a hat or take a vacation or take some time off or whatever it may be. Because right now, the reality is there's very few people that are able to take on that level of work. And so it always falls on the same people, the same teams. And as devs are non-fungible, we're limited in the capacity of output simply because there's just not enough people. So pretty cool.
All right. Great commentary on this news piece. Love it. Next up from the grant framework, which is not necessarily news from this week, but the EVM name service has been approved as well. Let me share a tweet that was actually out a few days ago, 2 days ago. It states that the Ethereum Virtual Machine Name Service, EVMNS, is a distributed, open, and extensible multi-chain DID domain naming system built on EOS EVM. This tool will make it easy will make it easy to seamlessly connect people, information, dApps, and more in the Web3 world. And then there's another link to the actual GitHub repo or GitHub application for this grant framework that I'm going to share in the chat as well. Lots of fun information in there. Not sure exactly what should be highlighted here. I don't know if maybe Zack has something that he wants to add to this. Maybe the timing of when this was actually approved. I'm not sure if that was this week or maybe a bit before, but figured we'd highlight it while we're talking about recent grant framework initiatives that have been funded.
It was only approved recently. I don't know what the lag time was between when it was announced and when it was actually approved. But yeah, we've had a
I can give
couple
commentary on that.
Yeah.
If that's a data point of interest. So the board originally approved that. So that's a two-step process, right? So when people apply to the grant framework, the board reviews it more at a business level, cost level, general idea level. That was approved mid. So I'm looking at a date here. I don't know if that's accurate that day, but January 18th, give or take. After that's approved, then it goes to the technical side of things, where they review from a technical point of view whether or not what is being proposed is whether or not the team is capable of taking that on, and or whether or not that has dependencies with other things. So some of the grants, that's really not relevant because there's no dependencies, or they're not touching code, they're not touching protocol level code or anything like that. And so that part is easier. There's other components where that technical review is more relevant. And this one was one where there was a little bit more technical questions on there. So it took about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks to review. And ultimately that final approval, I think, was given about a week and a half ago or so. So from end to end, so for others that are interested in how long it takes for review, we try to keep that as low as possible. Realistically, depending on the number of applications that we're reviewing, a part of that is the administrative component of all the applications that come in through are then translated for the board members. And so that takes a little bit of time. But if we remove that, we try to keep it between roughly a week and a half to 2 weeks. So 10 days is the target for the first review. And between, depending on the complexity, between 10 to 20 days for the second review, which gives a total time of from submission to knowing if you actually go through the full process, maybe a month and a half, give or take a month and a half.
Excellent. Thanks for that additional.
I don't know if Zach, you wanted to add something, but I can also drop some alpha. I'm looking at the chat. We do have Robrigo here. Robrigo, would you like some alpha? Rob from EOS Detroit / Detroit Ledger Technologies. So Robrigo, I can tell you that if you have not received an email yet, you will receive an email soon that your latest grant application at the business side of things anyways has been approved for the first part.
Wow. That's really exciting. Thank you, Yves. The team is going to be ecstatic.
And so that is the
I'm ecstatic.
Part 2. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. This is part 2. So I also mentioned it because Rob just did and I think it was mentioned earlier, Rob just did a podcast with Brendan. I believe Zack was there as well, on part 1 of the NFT collections manager that they submitted for, got approved for. Part 2, Rob submitted recently. There was a lot of back and forth. Rob can attest to that there's a lot of back and forth in terms of what we were looking for, because it's a larger grant. And there are, I think, some modifications that were made to it in terms of how it's going to roll out / what it is comprised of / what it needs to be on the lookout for. But ultimately, you got approval, which you may not have received the email yet.
Thank you. Yeah, not yet. I'll be on the lookout, and Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with the board. All of the questions and concerns were addressable, and also great to see the thoughtfulness and the considerations with allocating this fund, which at the end of the day is token holder money. So I do appreciate how robust the questions have been, and also the ability to continue to prove our worth as a team and develop this public good. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, on that note, Rob, why don't you talk to us a bit about the recent podcast that you did? Yes, the interview, Facings plus NFT creation walkthrough. This is
Sure,
content that was recently
happy to
published. Yeah.
hop in.
Yes, great.
Thank you. Yeah, so we were able to hop on with Lovejoy, and my partner in Facings, Kier Kleinecht, was also on the call, or the stream, and so went really smoothly. Lovejoy was super prepared and asked a lot of great questions, so we were able to fill, I think, over an hour of content, and really just walking through our history, how Facings came to be, our philosophy as a company, our goals with the next stage of the grant, and a walkthrough of the current state of the tool. So it's a great crash course if you want to see what we've built. You can also use it, and we've also made sure that the latest branch on GitHub has all of the updates we've made since Proposal 1 was completed. So we completed the work for Proposal 1 end of October last year, and we've made sure that all of the work from October on has also been synced up. So yeah, it was a lovely discussion. I'm happy to dive in deeper. We went over our history, our philosophy, the walkthrough, some differences. Brandon had asked, what is the difference in the NFT ecosystems between, say, Wax and EOS, and we addressed some of that. Thoughts about IBC. So we really covered a lot of ground, and I guess I'm not sure the best way to hit it, but Iden has a question. What's that? Is it an NFT market? Actually, so the point of the collection manager is to create an open source alternative to collection owner tools. So collection owners are people who create NFT collections. There's a lot of different things we can do with NFT collections, but there aren't a whole lot of great tools currently on the market or available that allows non-deeply technically savvy collection owners to accomplish more sophisticated and interesting things. So really the goal here is to streamline that, to make it so someone with a lot of creativity and their own special skills and their passion for their NFT collection can have great tools that allow them to accomplish what they're trying to do without perhaps having to hire a dev to accomplish some of that. This also, as discussed in it allows us to create examples for developers as well. And the goal here with the collection manager, and now that we're halfway approved, because we still need to get the technical evaluator approval, as Yves mentioned earlier on the direct grant, the goal here is to deliver a plugin framework which will allow this open source project to really become more useful for more people. Businesses would be able to develop their own private plugins, which they could deliver perhaps aspects of their monetization strategy or business model through a private plugin that's built on top of the open source core. We can also deliver more open source plugins, and anyone who wants to run the app will be able to fork it and turn on and off the plugins they choose to customize the app. Actually, we've just received our first actual fork that's hosted as well. So Paul here, he mentioned in the chat, Paul G from New Zealand. He's a Proton block producer. He forked the collection manager and added some Proton specific functionality, which is another Antelope chain. And now he's hosting that and contributing back pull requests to the main code base. So this is exactly what we're hoping to see and foster, and in mass. And it'll take some time for this to really build up. We still have a lot of functionality we'd like to include. We've done quite a bit of bug fixing. We have a large issue list internally. So one of the other things that we had discussed, currently the Facings engineering team uses GitLab, which is different from GitHub. But we know a lot of the open source EOS and Antelope ecosystem software is being developed in the open, in public, on GitHub. So when you looked at the collection manager, you didn't necessarily see all of the work our team was doing because we were working in our private GitLab organization. So one of the things we'll be doing during collection or proposal 2 is also setting up an automation so that whenever features are developed on the private Facings GitLab, once they're stable enough, they'll be automatically pushed out to GitHub so that we don't have that multi-month delay, which we had recently with getting the latest updates out. But it has really been exciting, especially now knowing that we have resources to continue on. That is a massive news for us. And, we're going to redouble our efforts and make sure that this becomes a really useful cornerstone of the atomic assets and NFT ecosystem on EOS. And so we started with atomic assets because that's the main standard. We know that the EVM, the EOS EVM, is rolling out soon. In theory, this will also allow other standards such as ERC 721 to be integrated. While we're not promising any timeline on that type of thing, that is definitely something we'll be analyzing. As that could be hugely valuable to encourage pre-existing collections to perhaps port, or somehow allowing them to map from ERC 721 into the more advanced features of atomic assets. There's a lot of thought experiments there that we can also explore as the EOS EVM comes online. So thank you so much for the news. That's a huge surprise, and really appreciate the vote of confidence. And I hope that we will not disappoint the community members in here, and we will continue to make something that is useful and grow our contributor base and grow our usefulness for this application. It's an honor, so thank you.
That's wonderful. And just to clarify, I didn't know you were going to get this news when I invited you on the Fireside earlier today. I just wanted you to talk about the interview you did that was recently released. But I love that you got some great news live with everyone here on the Fireside.
The last vote literally came in a few hours ago, so nobody could have known.
There you go. Awesome. I shared a few screenshots of the video interview here in the notes. I don't know if you noticed, but one of the NFTs that's highlighted in that video is called Rugged Maria. But in the preview, it just shows up as rugged. Are you trying to say something, Robrigo?
Yeah, so Kier, my business partner, Kier, he's been rugged so many times, it's painful. Because he's an experimenter, he was learning a lot about NFTs, he was joining all these projects, and then basically having the money he had put into those NFTs stolen, or the project owners would run away. That's kind of the definition of rugs. So whenever you're talking to Kier about NFTs, he even owns like ruggednfts.com, which he was trying to make a project or considering creating a sort of sanctuary for all of the projects that have been forgotten or abandoned. So it's really near and dear to his heart. But yes, definitely we didn't mean to infer that we're in the rugging business, but rather it's just this meme that he
That's
uses
funny.
and continually comes back to as a
That's
result of his
funny.
own experience.
I'm glad it's on purpose. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure. Like, is this on purpose? Is it not on purpose? But that's funny. Yeah, I'm sure.
If you
sure
watch
he's not
that,
the only one in this chat that's gotten rugged on NFT projects. That's for sure.
if you watch that section of the interview, I asked for an explanation because Kier went on for a bit about rugged this and rugged that, and then he explains, and we mint the rugged Maria NFT on the show, and so if you watch and you leave a comment in the video,
Who knows
you
what's gonna
might
happen?
you
Who knows
might
what's gonna
get
happen?
a rugged Maria.
Oh, there you go.
There's
Awesome.
only 4 in existence, or 5, maybe 5. So
Very cool. Let's go on. Let's go leave some comments on that video then, and good luck to everyone. We're getting some rugged Marias. Very funny. Very funny, guys. Oh, but that's great. Thanks for the update, Rob. I hadn't had a chance to watch the video, so it's the first time I'm seeing these screenshots from the app. Looks great. Love seeing who is it? Paul G from New Zealand, saying that he's already forked this repo and it's up at nftmanager.protonz.com. That's awesome to see. And yeah, looking forward to seeing more projects being able to deliver great NFT experiences on Antelope without having to go through the Atomic Hub marketplace necessarily, or without having to do with the Pomelo team and build its own harvest.pomelo NFT landing page, which, to be honest, does take a lot of time and effort to build. So now a tool like this is going to hopefully enable all sorts of other communities and projects to build their own NFT landing pages to promote their great NFT collections. Really cool stuff.
Thank you. And we're always looking for more feedback, constructive criticism, feature requests. If you have ideas for what this app could be or do, or how it could help your own project, please do reach out to me. Or also you could hit our issue list on the GitHub. I will drop the link in the chat. We're always looking for more feedback so that we can inform our roadmap and make sure it's driven in such a way to meet the needs of people out there building. So thank you very much, everybody. And thank you for the great news, Yves. Thank you for the spotlight here, Stephane. And really looking forward to the next step here. So thank you.
One final round of applause for Robrigo and the team at Facings. Love to see you guys get funded, that's for sure. All right, I see we got Hernan in the chat. Wants to invite us to the latest Web3 Creators podcast. Hernan, do you want to come online and speak a little bit about this?
Hey guys, sure. Can everyone hear me?
Hey Hernan, yeah, coming in clear.
Thanks. This thing is disconnecting, so if I get disconnected in the middle, I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah. So I just published the new episode with Bishop from the EOS support team, and it was a great episode. I'm always trying to kind of what I'm trying to do also with this podcast is kind of break through our echo chamber and kind of bring blend a bit of a lot of the Web3 space with some EOS EOS projects as well. And just Bishop reached out to me and told me, yeah, I'd like to be part of the podcast, and that's what we set it up, and now I think it's a very valuable pod, because I don't know of many blockchain platforms that have kind of a community powered support team, and I think that's very unique what we have here with the EOS support. So a lot of love for the EOS support team. Go check out that episode. Follow, like, subscribe, the whole shebang. And if you want to appear in an episode, just reach out to me. I want to give a special love and spotlight for EOS founders and EOS builders. We had some major, like YouTubers and personalities in the pod, like Elliot Trait and Zeneca, which are they never speak about EOS, but they have over 300,000 and then 700,000 followers, and I think that's a reach out that we want to tap into, so that we can expand as a community, as a network. So yeah, everyone's invited. Yves, I'd love to get you on. I know we've tried to sync for a pod, and let's set up a date for some time to get you on. And anyone else who wants to come to the pod, you're all invited.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks for the invites. And I gave you a like. I gave you a subscribe. Let's see some more.
Thanks.
Let's see some more action on that video for Hernan. Thanks for thanks for joining the Fireside and being an active part of the community. It's great. Love to see.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
And I guess on the topic of community-hosted shows and events, friendly reminder: if you're hosting a live show and you want to give out some pop tokens to reward the EOS community that shows up at your event, reach out to me. We want to distribute these pop tokens as wide as possible. If you're just posting a YouTube video, pre-recorded, that doesn't necessarily qualify. But if you're hosting any type of live show, definitely reach out. We'll give you some pop tokens that you can distribute to your community. For everyone in Discord right now, of course, remember to register for your pop tokens in the PopBot chat on this Discord server, and then mint your February raffle tickets once you've accumulated 4 pop tokens. So all raffle ticket holders earlier this month were entered in a draw to win some Lovejoy Cupids. There was only 100 of those distributed. There's over 600 tickets out there. So those are kind of some of the fun bonuses that you may get for participating in these promotions, this NFT collection that's kind of starts with the pop tokens and then expands from there. Actually, let's go back to the framework, to the grant framework, because there was another story that I was supposed to bring up before Hernan came in there with the message and got me distracted. No worries, Hernan, of course, but there's a third grant that was very recently approved, and that has something to do with the Defibox Vault grant approval. So I'm going to share a link to that application, of course, in the chat. I don't know if there's anyone that can add some extra color commentary to this story. I can't really. I don't know if we got still Zack and Yves in here, if they've got a little something to say, but I know that this was approved very, very recently. And so,
yeah, I can give a little bit of a comment there. Basically, what they proposed and what ultimately was approved. And I'm mincing my words was approved because I know it passed the first stage. I can't confirm they passed the second stage, but I guess if you're aware, then that means it did. Is to essentially open source everything.
Don't take my word for anything on this.
Well, everybody can check the grant anyways. I mean, it's public, so if you want to go and review what the grant was, feel free. The idea is basically to open source what they currently have in terms of the vault, for example, document that so that others can then replicate this. So that if others want to do similar products to what Defibox offers, instead of starting from scratch, they can leverage off of code that's been audited, that's been been deployed and been functional for a period of time, so that more and more people can start leveraging those protocols. And essentially, ideally, if they're capable of rallying a community around those products, then also get access to Yield Plus at some point when they meet those thresholds. And so it's open sourcing what currently already is, making that available to all, accompanying that with documentation, so that others ideally can replicate and we can have more competition in the DeFi space.
There you go. Thanks for that extra commentary. There we go. We got a AI rugged Maria in the house from Lovejoy. Nice. I was wondering how long it was going to take for AI to share some pics of rugged Maria. I'm happy it only took a few minutes. Good job, Brandon and his AI sidekicks. All right. So we can keep going on some more topics. We already did the Facings interview and demo. Friendly reminder, another fireside reminder for community questions. Of course, we love for you to join us live on the mic. You can ask your questions right there at the end of the show during the open mic period. You can also send them in the chat if you're here with us. You can also fill out a Google form if you're not being able to be present live with us. And so at any time in the week, you can go fill out, send us some questions through that Google form, and we will, get to them on the show. We had one question over the last week. However, it was just a question about price, so we're obviously not going to be addressing those. But any other question, we're happy to bring up. The question is like, yeah, make price go up, and yeah, the answer is yeah, we're trying. I guess everyone's trying. Okay, so what else do we have here? Oh, Binance AMA and EOS Learn and Earn. That was a great event last week. Very popular. Allows if you haven't joined the EOS Learn and Earn, I think you can still do that. I'm not sure actually. I know there's a limited amount of space available. It is only available to people who have KYC'd on Binance, and I think you have to have never subscribed to simple earn lock products of EOS in order to qualify for this Learn and Earn. So I've actually subscribed to the Earn program on Binance a while back. So unfortunately, it sounds like I can't join this Learn and Earn. But if you haven't and you're KYC'd on Binance, get in there, learn a bit about EOS. Although I'm sure everyone who's in here probably knows all the questions anyways, and then you can just qualify for that program, earn a bit of EOS, and then have it be automatically locked up in that simple earn locked product. So that's pretty fun. And then of course the EOS AMA had a lot of viewers. I wasn't able to watch live, but I think there was over 35,000 viewers, something like that, if I remember correctly. So that's really cool to see. Obviously, this stuff takes a long time to set up with companies like Binance. They're obviously one of the biggest players in this space. So it's great to be able to leverage their platform to share the news about EOS and the new EOS and all of the great work that's been going on from all sorts of corners of the EOS community over the last 18 months. So just going to give a round of applause to ENF, to Yves, to everyone who showed up on the Binance AMA. Love to see that kind of stuff happening. And hopefully we continue to see great updates like that in 2023. Did anyone in here join in to the EMA? I know, of course, Yves was there representing the EOS community, but would love to hear some feedback from anyone else who may have caught some or all of that AMA. Gonna give a little pause here for you guys to join in here and join the show. It was a great AMA, confirmed by Rhett. Thanks, Rhett. Thanks for confirming. It was great.
I guess I'll add to what you said, which is how long it takes to actually set this up. So as you saw, we got USDT EOS listed on Binance. We have this AMA. We've got the Learn and Earn program. There was a Chinese New Year event as well. In order to come to terms with Binance, it took months. I don't recall the exact amount of time, but it took roughly 6 to 7 months before we actually settled on what we'd be working on in terms of strategic partnership over the next 2 years type of thing. So as you mentioned, by the time you see the resulting product, a lot of time went into ensuring that we get value out of this and that there's something concrete there and what that means and the multi-parts towards to that, the marketing and the listing, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot of work that goes into making something like this happen. It doesn't just come overnight.
Looks like Zack wants to jump in and talk, but unfortunately thinks I've muted him. I don't think we've server muted you, Zack. Good luck figuring out your mic issues. We'd love to hear from you today. Although Yves been doing a great job carrying this fireside. Let's give a round of applause to Yves for jumping in here and helping me make this show as interesting as possible. Love to hear it. And waiting for Zack. Looks like Zack is reverting to the keyboard. Can't handle the new mic technology.
While Zack is getting ready to join, I'll just say the AMA was great. I loved it. I was taking notes. I thought to myself that if anyone wants a real proper snapshot of the current state of affairs and everything, it's a great primer. It's a great kind of one-stop primer of the history, the situation, so much packed in there in a pretty short amount of time. So I'm kind of constantly amazed at Yves' ability to distill everything down. So that was good. I encourage everybody to watch it. Only one comment so far on the Facings interview. I'm waiting for more.
Hello.
Hey, Zack.
Hello.
Welcome
Oh shit.
to the fireside.
You're here.
Oh my god, whoever told me to I had to close Discord on my phone. I don't know why it wasn't working on my laptop. I tried jumping out a bunch of times. I thought Steph was just being rude. I didn't want to jump over top of someone else. So a few things since I wasn't able to speak up earlier. On the EVM name services grant, I just wanted to point out that it's showcasing that with the EOS EVM being the EOS EVM, moving away from the Trust EVM and having its own ecosystem, our grant framework, Pomelo, all of the existing funding pillars that exist for EOS also exist within the EOS EVM space. And that particular grant is a showcase of that. It was a fairly significant funding amount over multiple milestones. So every grant in the direct grant framework is milestone based. So the individuals or businesses only get paid upon project completion. And then on the Defibox one, whoever sniffed that out, that was awesome. That was actually before we even made an announcement. That just got approved a few hours ago. And that one's a big achievement, I think, because for anyone following the Antelope Coalition for a while, there was the Secure Smart Contracts Library that was an RFP. And that RFP was essentially, if you're familiar with Ethereum, there's something called Open Zeppelin. It's a list of libraries and open source contracts that are essentially audited already. So it's battle tested code that other developers can pick up and basically hit the ground running with their project because they don't need to reinvent common logic and reinvent the wheel for their particular project. So that was the idea behind the Secure Smart Contract Library RFP that came out of the coalition. There were several teams who applied for it. Some of them even applied as a consortium. I think Defibox was even on one of the teams that applied for it. And the coalition ended up rejecting that proposal because I wasn't on the calls where it got approved. I think had something to do with the costs coming in a little bit too high. So the coalition decided to not move forward with it. I think it was actually Yves' decision to not go forward. But this fills some of that gap as far as the DeFi contracts, because we have obviously really great DeFi technology and smart contracts that certain teams have built, including Defibox at the forefront. But unless that code's open source, no one else could really build on top of the shoulders of giants, so to speak. So if someone else wanted to come along and build a brand new vault technology, for example, they would need to start from scratch. So they'd basically be starting 2 years behind Defibox. Whereas now, with more code being open source, incentivized through the grant program, that means the next DeFi protocol can come along. They could fork the code base because it's open source now, and they can kind of hit the ground running because they've got the bare essentials already built. Maybe they'll add some slight modifications to it to make it their own flavor or maybe improve upon it, but it really just saves time to market, time to develop. And with the Yield Plus incentive program, it gives a faster path to being able to get a product to launch and potentially achieve the minimum total value lock requirements to start earning those Yield Plus subsidies. So yeah, that was what I missed earlier. Sorry about my mic issues.
All good. Thanks for making up for the issues right now. We had Lenny actually come in with a comment regarding the Binance AMA. He thought it was a pity that no team was organized to be ready for the big, fast flow of queries in the chat during the AMA. It was immense and fast scrolling good questions. So I guess that means you tuned into the AMA, Lenny, or maybe you watched it afterwards. But yeah, I don't even know if we had a team ready, like, for example, EOS support. You know, there's so many questions. It flows so fast during those kinds of events. Is it even worth answering them outside of what Yves says? You know, I'm not sure. But
I'm not sure really I understand the question, but there's a team. But just to give an idea, so there was 25,000 people. The host, when we ended this, said that the average was a question coming in every 3 seconds. So there's no way that in that hour and a half we were going to answer, how many questions would that be? 20 times 90 is like 100, I don't know. A lot of questions. There's no way that we were answering all those questions, but we did have a team behind that were actually parsing through the questions. And so the live questions that were taken were some of that. Plus we had, I believe before the event started, over 500 questions that were accumulated that we actually singled out as individual questions. So that's less the duplicate questions.
Cool.
So just way too many questions. And there's a lot of people. There's no way that no matter the size of the team that we were answering anywhere near all those questions.
And not all of the questions were of high quality or good. So the incentive program that they have, everyone's KYC, they're logged into their Binance account to participate in the live stream. And I believe that they get like $5 or $10 or something if their particular question gets asked on the live stream by the host. So they're just shooting out questions like crazy, just trying to hope that if they spray and pray enough that their questions will get asked. So the quality wasn't all good, but there was a team behind there. There was the host, and he had an assistant parsing through the questions. I was trying to help them go through their like shortened list of the questions. So there's definitely a team involved in the background. Their production quality of how Binance actually ran the operations of a live stream in AMA was actually quite impressive, and I actually learned a lot myself.
There you go. Sounds like it's not their first rodeo. All right. Next topic on the agenda, EOS Network Foundation joins the Canadian Blockchain Consortium. Nice little announcement that went live not too long ago. Once again, when was this? This was 2 days ago. Yves, any more information you want to share about this topic with the community?
There's not really much to share. We've been working with the Canadian Blockchain Consortium now unofficially for years. Even before the mainnet launch, I was already in talks with them and the work that they're doing within Canada and within the blockchain space as a whole, especially when it comes to the regulatory work that they do or the advocacy work that they do at the Canadian regulatory level. And so this was just kind of one of those pending items that we just never kind of closed off. And so we, unofficially have been working with them for a while. This just makes it really official. They've got a bunch of different committees on there, some of which we're already participating in, either directly or indirectly through people that are at the ENF or that are associated with the ENF. And so just kind of closing that gap and continuing down that front too. So when the Senate parliamentary committees meet and talk about blockchain, oftentimes those members are chosen from members from within the Canadian Blockchain Consortium, either at the board or the executive or members that are party to. And so just, putting ourselves out there more formally so that at some point we can start advocating formally on behalf of EOS, on behalf of the ENF, but within the Canadian Parliament is something that I'm particularly passionate about. And so, kind of closing a gap more so than anything else.
Right on. That's good. Looking forward to hearing more about what goes on in that association, in that consortium. All right. Next topic. Should I do my reverb voice when I introduce a new topic? Pomelo Season 5 now open for grant applications.
I definitely think that sounds better.
Let's see here. Who do we have in the chat from the Pomelo team? Is Martin around to give us an update? I know it's late for Martin out there in Europe.
Not asleep yet.
Not asleep yet. Yes, my booming voice kept you awake. I like it.
More reverb. Pomelo is open for applications officially as of today, 12 UTC. That's the starting point of Season 5. Everybody that has an idea for public goods should get their application in as soon as possible, so you can get approved or get feedback. If you're not qualifying yet and you need to do some little adjustments, you get your feedback sooner, and the sooner you get approved, then you can also apply for the pitch sessions. So that's kind of like a limited slots are available for the pitch sessions. A great opportunity for you to get more feedback from the community, get out there and answer some questions, maybe get more input on how you can improve it, or get some feedback on how to improve your whole project. Maybe make some connections on how you can collaborate on other levels with people. We also published, if you're still drafting your grant, last Monday we posted the evergreen content like we do every Monday. There you can find we posted this on Twitter again, basically recycling all the content that we already had. On Monday we posted some great tips on how to write a grant and how to make it the best possible for you. So going through that is probably helpful. And in 1 week the donations go live for Season 5. And that's also meaning that the Pomelo pitch sessions start. So on March 1st, the donations open. First pitch session for the English community will be on March 2nd, which is Thursday. And then the Asian pitch sessions are every Saturday. We again have pitch session slots available for Chinese and Korean communities with a translator. Shout out to Max Cho helping us in Korea. And it's worth it. There's over 170K USD, $170,000 available in the matching pool. That's 150K from the ENF. Thanks for that. once again. And we accumulated in season 4 $14,630. These are fees that are coming in from every season. And NFT sales, the Pomelo NFTs made a whooping $6,100 that got also put into the pool. So that accumulates all to over $170,000 up for grabs in season 5. Yeah.
There you go. Quick question, actually, Martin, about the pitch sessions. I was hosting them last season. You'll be hosting them this season. So I'm wondering, has the format changed, or how's that looking this season around?
Well, no, I don't think we changed the season. I think it's pretty nice to go with the rapid fire sessions. We continue to host them on Twitter Spaces. We have a great chance here to have our internal chat and reach out to people and have the fireside chat going. I think that's a more open format. Twitter Spaces is really great for sharing tweets and engaging with the grants. They all get a template from us to kind of publish their grant and share widely across the Twitter space or in Twitter. So we get more people learning about public goods on EOS and learning about Pomelo. That's the strategy there. You can easily share to your wider community when you're joining a Twitter space. Your following gets notified when you're doing this. Is just a little bit more open format, and so we decided to keep it on Twitter Spaces. And I think the rapid fire sessions is also exciting for everyone. So there's a good flow and rhythm in it. As for
I
the
definitely
agent,
like the strategy of leveraging Twitter Spaces for this type of stuff to get maximum exposure. Good to hear there's still 5 minutes. I like that format too. I was actually thinking, wondering if we should do a little something during the fireside as well. Now, I haven't brought this up to anyone yet, just me thinking about this a bit, but maybe like an ultra rapid fire session where people have like 30 seconds to say hi, say the name of their grant, and like 1 sentence.
Speed dating style.
Ultimate speed dating style for 2023, where attention span is no longer than 10 seconds. I don't know. I was thinking maybe that could be a fun segment that we could run on the fireside maybe one time during the season. So
I like that idea.
Just throwing that out there.
Sounds good to me. Should I integrate this into the sign up form, or is this kind of like no need to sign up, just attend the speed dating event?
Yeah, I think it would be just no need to sign up. Just like, hey, on this fireside chat, grant owners are invited to come literally say hi and the name of their grant, and then I'm gonna mute their mic once they pass 30 seconds. We're gonna keep it really short, really fast, but I think it could be interesting.
All right.
I think Tony just got a huge piece of that pie. He just did his pitch in less than 5 seconds. So shout out to Tony in chat. Enjoys long walks on the beach, and that's his application pitch.
Daniel Keys wants to highlight that he's a real person and not actually a Pomelo astronaut robot. That's a good idea too. Lenny likes it for 30 seconds. He's in. All right, maybe we'll fix a date. Probably, I don't know. Probably towards the end of the season. I don't know. We'll think about it and we'll update you guys once we figure out how.
Before we move on for Pomelo, Steph, can I add something about Pomelo? A question that's been asked quite frequently, and I figured Fireside is a good place to address it.
Let's do it.
People have been asking about the matching, why it's lower than previous seasons. So there's a couple of components to that. One is market reflection of the state of the market. Obviously, the cost to run this, the matching is quite significant. And we need to kind of place it back. There's a couple of components to this. So I'll try to make it as succinct as possible. This comes from Gitcoin, right? So Gitcoin is what Pomelo was modeled off of. And even when we look at Gitcoin, I believe, and somebody can go and do the research and correct me on this, but the largest amount that Gitcoin itself has matched, so the Ethereum Foundation has matched, I believe is 350K. And that was their biggest ever Now, Gitcoin, though, has way more matching partners. So the amount of the matching pool itself is much larger. And this is what we're trying to do with Pomelo as well. So we're trying to actually get more matching partners that are capable of coming in and supplementing what the ENF provides. But we knew that in the short term, a lot of that would be the catalyzing effect of just running the program, of generating interest, of actually having a framework, the tool itself, the actual, like the platform itself being fast track, right? So Gitcoin, I believe, is in their 13th, 14th, 15th season right now. Pomelo is only in it's going to be on its 5th. So there was a lot of catch up to do. And that required a lot of upfront cost to try and generate, some movement on the platform itself. But the idea is always that, and for expectation's sake, the 150 to 250 range is likely where the matching from the ENF is going to stabilize on in the long term. However, the idea is to be able to help facilitate and encourage others to be able to match as well as that. So also when we look at the ratio, there are other matching partners that have shown interest in the past. But then when we look at the percentage of what they would be able to match compared to what the ENF can match, we know that we'd also run into some potential conflicts there where, I'll give an example. One particular chain wants to match, all they can provide is 15K or 20K or something like that. Well, if the EOS side of things is matching, and I'm making up this number, but $500,000 that season, and this other project or chain can only match 15K, then we encountered when we were doing some of this work, like, well, how do we can't prevent anybody from participating. We know that Pomelo is open to everybody. If that ratio is too far off, we also don't want to create an environment where people will feel like EOS is funding others, and it is not really getting a lot of the benefit and value in return. So if those numbers are lower, it also makes it that the ratio between, let's say, ENF and others becomes smaller. That gap is closed. And so that will open up more potential partners whereby that ratio is smaller, that gap is smaller, and so it makes more sense. But also just the expectation as a whole as well, that the $888,888.88 round, that was very much a one shot off. That is not the norm. And when we look at Gitcoin, like, that's not where it stabilizes in the long term. The other part that's new that I believe, and Daniel can confirm, that will be out this season is the capacity for example, somebody who matches to specifically say where their matching pool is to be applied to. And Daniel, maybe you can confirm that this is going to be enabled this season?
Not this season, season 6. We've got,
Gotcha.
Speaking about matching partners, we've been speaking to a number of interested parties offline. And a lot of them come from, within the Antelope ecosystem, but not necessarily the EOS ecosystem. The teams that have treasuries that they can put towards a matching pool like this are these kind of layer one Antelope side chains like Telos, like UX, as well as some dApps as well. So we've been having lots of conversations with potential matching partners, and IBC unlocks a lot of this potential. So we're working towards, in season 6, being able to have a side pool dedicated to a particular purpose. We could have a IBC pool funded by UX tokens as a side pool, and matching partners can sort of define some of the criteria. So as someone creating a grant, you decide, am I going to join the regular main pool, public good pool, or maybe I have an IBC project, I'm going to join this UX IBC pool, and it has to be an IBC project. Maybe it doesn't need to be a public good, maybe it doesn't. That's kind of one of the
but all within the same season.
Exactly.
So the administrative burden on the team is all in the same season instead of. So you're able to leverage the tool, expand it out within the same time frame that the resources are currently assigned to do, because there's a big governance aspect to this. There's a big review aspect to this. There's a technical backend to this as well.
Right.
And so it's moving in that direction.
A lot of people underestimate that the technical building the Pomelo app is the tip of the iceberg in terms of effort that goes into running Pomelo. A lot of it is that administrative, community management, marketing, reviewing, Sybil analysis. A lot of work happens there in the background. So we're offering, we're by leveraging Pomelo, you get all of that with the software that's built. And so as a matching partner, you just put some money in the pot, and you get all the value of building a community around your token, your project, and having an opportunity to kind of customize the types of projects that you're facilitating and growing. So if you're creating your own side pool, defining your own acceptance criteria for that.
And to add to it as well, in the context of the for those that feel that the matching pool is too small, for example, because I know some teams reached out and they're like, "Hey, I've been relying on Pomelo for funding to a certain extent." There's always the grant framework, right? So Pomelo we're rebaselining everything as well. So expect that the ongoing funding will be closer to what currently is. Especially for the long term. But there are other funding buckets available, and we're also rebaselining everything. So we did that with the grant framework as well. We've capped now grant framework level 3 to 200K because we've got the ENV that's also in the works. And this idea of the proper funding for the proper bucket at the proper levels, everything now is in play with one another, right? There's a relationship between those different things. So if you've been leveraging Pomelo and you've been successful in Pomelo, and now you're seeing that maybe the amount of funding that you might get from there might not be adequate, then the grant framework is available for you. The hoops are bigger to jump in. You're getting paid after the fact, as Stephane was mentioning earlier. It's milestone based, and so you only get paid after you deliver the work. But it's not that funding is not available. It's just rebaselining so that the proper funding in the proper buckets creates more accountability, and that overall this whole strategy is aligned together, and there's not one that's kind of off the others, for example.
And because you participated in Pomelo, you have a stronger resume now. And that's really the idea. You think of Pomelo as a stepping stone, a reputation building mechanism to get a little bit of seed funding to start germinating your idea, building that reputation. And now that you have something looks like it's starting to stick, taking that idea, creating a grant on the grant framework. And if you look at the grant framework, they even ask you give us a link to your Pomelo grant. You get extra points for that.
And we review, right? So to put a caveat on that, it's not just give us a link, because some people have gave us a link, and then we've seen that they've, I can't speak to the others. There's 8 people participating in the process, but I definitely leverage here's a link. You've got a community, you've got a lot of people. Great. That's definitely a +1. Or, hey, you've been in Pomelo. Sure. You kind of meet that check mark, but you only had 3 people donating. Maybe you received $5. Well, that's not necessarily an advantage, right? You're kind of showcasing that maybe you're not there yet. Also, if we look at kind of the subject that I just talked about as well, that for some people it might not be enough. Well, they might now move to the grant framework, which actually means maybe there's less competition in Pomelo. So again, as a smaller team, it might make it easier for you in Pomelo, because some of those larger teams that have a lot of traction are now going to be moving towards grant framework instead. And so those larger teams that were even applying for the grant framework that now exceed the cap are now going to be moving towards the ENV side of things, right? So that's also what I'm talking about when I'm saying the coordination strategy between all of them, so that one is not encroaching on the other, and the kind of a right fit, right place type of approach is what we've been redefining with the data that we've been gathering and over the last year or so with those initiatives working out. So I do believe that ultimately it will be beneficial to everybody. It's not that there's less money being available. It's the money is being more focused in the right, in quote unquote, right buckets.
Very cool to visualize these different, funding mechanisms available, kind of starting with Pomelo, building your reputation, moving up to grant framework, and then, moving up to the EOS Network Ventures. Very, very exciting. Martin, did you have other Pomelo NFT related updates to share with us? I know I kind of jumped in with the question about the pitch sessions, and then Yves jumped in with some more information, and just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's all.
Share the news.
Sure, that's what all the Fireside is about. So people can jump in and share some additional perspective. There's some NFT related updates, but I wanted to start with like the opening of the applications first because it's more important. So we launched an article today that Denis already shared the chat regarding the. I can share it again. Let me quickly check. Yeah, some great updates on the harvest
I'll share it.
page UI. There you go. And so the airdrop for the astronauts, the PFP project on EOS, I think it's like the largest PFP project in EOS for now with 1,000 unique designs, is out. And you have 1 week to maximize your allocation. And you do this by basically getting as many ultra rare moon bases from season 4 or the full set of the moon of the rares, the moon vehicles together. And then on the new UI on the harvest page, you can log in and then see how many you would get on the snapshot date. The snapshot will be on March 1st. All these dates you can see in the article. Additionally, for people who don't necessarily want to purchase moon bases or don't have moon bases, who just want to try their luck, we have a bounty block contest going on where you can win 25 astronaut tokens that you can then redeem for your unique astronaut profile NFT. That's basically that. I hope everybody gets excited about more astronauts getting in circulation. It's still not all of them being distributed. There will be more for, I guess, like further seasons until we have distributed them all. Another thing that's been active on the NFT side of Pomelo is the DNA potions. Have been mining pretty cute little Pomelo space crew members. I'm not sure if everybody saw them already, but I love these little guys. For everybody that is in the Pomelo Telegram chat, there will be a surprise tomorrow, where we see more of these little guys. And that's basically it. Before next week, we start mining the final stage of season 5 NFTs. Which will be yet another surprise. Once again, shout out to the Liquid team, Liquid Universe. They have been helping us with some awesome designs for this season. And there will be some pretty awesome 3D designs coming out. 3D objects, similar like we had with the moon bases. So NFTs that you can position in your room via AR, that you can turn around and look at them from all angles. You can integrate them in various ways in the future. And the spaceships are, I think, like a nice little upgrade to what we had in previous seasons. So that's basically it. More updates on the Pomelo lore, on the Pomelo Chronicles, the little narrative that we're building around these astronauts, the spaceships, the moon base, and all of that will be also published tomorrow. So stay tuned.
I can give a quick stat here. We're less than 10 hours since opening season 5 for application submissions. We've got 22 grants so far submitted. So pretty good pace so far. We usually get, in the first week, a lot of applications come in. I expect to see that grow over the next week or so and throughout the season. So shout out to everyone who's already submitted your grant application. Always great to get them in early. You want to get in ideally before donations open, which is going to be March 1st. And but yes, so you still got time to get those in. And looking forward to reading through all the applications and happy to have Andrew by my side this season helping me review these applications.
Yeah, happy to be here.
All right, final note here about these NFTs, Pomelo NFTs. So the rares from last season, moon vehicles, there's a trike, there's a glider, there's a rover. You need to collect all 3 to qualify for the Pomelo astronaut. I'm missing a glider. I've got some spare rovers and trikes. If any of you out there have a glider to trade, please, we have 1 week to make a deal. Reach out to me and we'll do a trade for a glider. Just wanted to put that in there. All right, some more community news coming in through the chat. We had Veronica inviting us to join the Boyd chat on Telegram and Discord and to try the new Boyd Frontier testnet. Veronica, do you want to come online to talk a bit about this? Just putting you on the spot here. I'm not sure if Veronica is set up to be able to join us with the mic. But Veronica is the new community manager for Boyd. So you'll be seeing her talking about Boyd some more in the community. So congratulations, Veronica, for this. And we look forward to learning more about Boyd and all of the cool things that these guys are working on. There you go. We got Denis sharing some links to the bounty block contest. You can join for free, get a chance to win a Pomelo astronaut. I shared some pictures of the new crew members that you can get in season 5 of the NFTs. We've got Rhett actually sharing his ebook, Deciding on a Blockchain, ebook by Zaisan. Free link for a download right there in the comments. Grab a copy if you haven't yet. And there we go. We got Veronica here sharing a link to the testnet.hub.boyd.com. Get in there, try out the Boyd platform. I know John from Boyd hinted that they're looking at IBC, potentially being one of the first applications to release IBC functionality. So I'm still looking forward for updates on that. Veronica, if you can get John to join us. I don't know, is John in the chat today? I don't think so. No, he's not here right now. But yeah, Veronica, get John to join the chat and update us on what's going on that front. I'm very curious. And kind of a quick fireside reminder, our Road to 10K promo for members in this Discord server has been renamed. I just renamed it this morning. It's now the Road Past 10K promo because we blew past 10K members. We're up to now 13,000 members. I see we got 2 new members in the last few minutes since the last time I checked. So that's great. We're going to be awarding prizes for anyone, or I mean the top, I think it's top 25 or top 50. Anyways, people who invite new members to the channel with a personal invite link will get rewarded every 2 months. So we'll be sending prizes out at the end of March, at the end of May, and at the end of July to round out the promo. So the Road Past 10K promo still going on. Generate your link, invite friends. Let's get more people in here. Although we had a ton of people actually in the Fireside today. We were over 70 people, which is great. Love to see you guys joining the Fireside. Don't forget to road to 100K Reddit, says Lewis. Yes, Lewis was impressed by the subscriber count on Reddit earlier this week. He noticed that EOS has a decent community on Reddit. We try to post some of our updates here from EOS Nation and for the Fireside Chat and for the hot sauce on Reddit. So yeah, visit the Reddit subreddit if you haven't lately. Leave some upvotes and let's get our subscriber count going, trending on Reddit as well. Why not? All right, rounding out the topics for this week, EOS hold on. EOS continues to rank #1 in China, and the ENF's Hong Kong office confirmed. There we go. Forgot my voice changer for the topic headline. We got a few fun little articles here. Of course, there's been this narrative around crypto Twitter that the next bull run is going to be dominated by the Chinese community. I'm all for it. Whoever wants to pump money into the crypto space, I will welcome with open arms, of course. But if that is true, if indeed the next bull run will be, pumped by the Chinese community, for lack of a better word, I think that bodes well for EOS. EOS always ranking #1 in various, in these various rankings for cryptos that comes out from the Chinese community. So that's all fun for EOS. I'm going to share a few more links here, sharing more about, this narrative. We got Trimbot coming in here. We got Buywire sharing EOS bulls dominate how China can sustain price rise. Excellent. Thanks for sharing that article, Buywire. We got some tweets from Trimbot. New Substack article dropping soon, and you won't want to miss this one. Diving into the China crypto narrative and why China loves EOS. Excellent. We love Trimbot. Love to see it. And what is this tweet actually? Let's see. Let's share it. See what happens. Another tweet from Trimbot. Reminder, China released a ranking of public blockchains and ranks EOS first ahead of Ethereum. Given the news that China is about to reverse their stance on crypto, we should expect a big influx of Chinese money. Will that money pour into EOS, causing a massive pump? Hashtag not financial advice, just pure speculation. Love it. I'm not against speculation. Any 2023 data on this? Rhett, are you asking about the narrative that China is going to be pumping the crypto markets? I think that the main data is just this law that was passed, in Hong Kong, saying that they would open up transactions to crypto for all residents of Hong Kong. So I think that's a lot of where this narrative is coming from. The CCID ranking. Yeah, good question. I'm not sure when the latest release was. That's a great question. If someone knows, please let us know. Share the link or jump on chat. All right. Well, that kind of wraps up the topics I had prepared for today. At this point, of course, if anyone else wants to jump in here, share some news, say hi to the community, troll someone, whatever it is, now's your time to do it. I know we've had people sharing some news in the chat throughout the show. Love to see that as well. Gonna remind everyone to go support Hernan's new show on Twitter. I saw there's a couple more likes, a couple more subs since we mentioned it earlier in the show. Get in there, like that content. Shout out to Veronica and Boyd, and yeah, let's hear from some more people. Shout out to Veronica, working really hard to get our cute Reddit back. Yes, Veronica has been doing great work moderating and promoting and curating the EOS Reddit. So thank you very much for that, Veronica. Sorry guys, my loop was off. If you prefer to listen, I guess that's a link to a podcast version of Hernan's show. Great, thanks for sharing, Hernan. I definitely prefer to listen to my crypto content, usually while I'm shoveling or skiing or cleaning. Get that stuff into my brain at 1.25 or 1.5x speed. Let's see some more AI generated images of rugged Maria. I was happy Brandon shared one, but I feel like we can see more.
Well, is there a runner up? I only upscaled the one. I could run the prompt again.
Run it. Run it.
All right.
But try to make the AI understand that we want a rug Maria, not a rugged Maria, which is I think what we got the first time. But we need Maria with some rug action going some way, somehow. There you go, Max. Max Cho coming in with the 27th CCID's Global Public Blockchain Technology Assessment Index. Rhett was asking if there was more recent data from this group. Seems like there is. Thank you, Max, coming in clutch with this link. However, it is all in Chinese and I don't understand much of it. But looks like the date is 28th of December. So really not that long ago, just 2 months ago. Still ranking EOS number 1 with 142.2 points. 143 points for Ethereum, IOST coming in at 139, then Tron at 129. BTC all the way down, number 10, ranked number 10 with 109 points. Tony coming in with some clutch. Maria with lots of rugs. Good job, Tony. Tony went old school. Found an actual image instead of generating a new one with an AI. How old school of you, Tony.
And as a reminder, Tony enjoys long walks on the beach with sands in his toes, with a cool wind breeze in his hair. And he's looking for funding in the next season of Pomelo.
So looking for more appropriate music for Tony's long walk on the beach. I think I found it.
There you go.
Sounds like there's a wave in this song and everything. Here we go, Robrigo showing us a rugged Maria on a wooden boat covered in the rugs in the style of a Claude Monet. Awesome. Awesome. Tony, that's Superwoman or Wonder Woman. That's not a rugged Maria. Come on, Tony.
It is a woman that has become rugged.
All right. We'll make that qualify.
There we go.
I like how that voice was also extremely deep when you said that.
Yeah.
Without any filters.
No.
Yeah, it was the radio voice.
Coming to you live. Now, that's a rugged Maria right there.
I think Denis wins so far.
Oh, man. Bottom left.
Oh man, this Maria's been grinding rugs her whole life.
She's seen some shit.
She's seen some rugs in her time, for sure.
Definitely part of the EOS community.
She's been through it all. Rugged Maria has been.
Yeah, she's only 36 years old.
I'm gonna save Maria.
30s.
I'm gonna save Maria with a question for Yves, if I could. I didn't quite catch the nature of the relationship with the university in China. Was this a grant or like a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese university, or I didn't quite catch it?
So the Antelope Coalition assigns RFPs, and the University of Fudan, or a group within the University of Fudan, applied for peer-to-peer networking code rewrite. So there are two teams that bid for that particular RFP. That RFP was split up into two different pieces of work, or two different scopes of work. One of them has gone to OCI, and the other one to that group within the University of Fudan. So that's at the Antelope Coalition level. And if you want further information about that and the RFP and everything, you can tune into the Antelope Coalition calls that are recorded on Thursdays and I believe published shortly thereafter. the particular peer-to-peer networking code rewrite piece has been on the table. That original RFP, if I'm not mistaken, was originally published in either October or November. Nobody, so there was one submission by OCI, but it wasn't approved. Then we changed the scope of work. It went back out again, if I'm not mistaken, maybe late November, early December. And the ultimate result of assigning the work, but into two different teams, was allocated 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. So it's at the Antelope Coalition level. So this is a decision from the Treasury, from the 4 chains, right? So from Telos, UX, Wax, and EOS. And maybe somebody wants to put the link to, oh yeah, somebody already did. Yeah, so the coalition RFP is linked as well in the chat.
I imagine with the number of block producers that are based in China and just general individuals that you come in contact with as the head of ENF, is there a feeling of what the state of the mindset of the CCP is towards crypto? In other words, I suppose it's just one RFP. So if the CCP was to change its mind, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I'm curious if you have any way of gauging that kind of thing, and where you would get that kind of information as to how long that open window would last. Just kind of a curious question.
I'm not sure I understand your question. Is that relevant if we change CCP for IMF for everybody that's English speaking with the same question you just posed? I mean, I'm not even sure that's a question. Sorry, Perry.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, if we all know that the CCP has kind of been an on again, off again with regard to crypto in general. So it's kind of an opening and closing door. And at the moment, it looks like it's opening. And that's why people are suggesting that the next bull run is going to come from China. So I'm just curious if any of the block producers or anyone else in your circle of influence is giving you any kind of indication of how the wind is going to blow from the point of view of the CCP, which obviously is in control of the whole country.
I don't have any insight in terms of the CCP. In terms of China reopening, I guess if we want to be specific, that would be Hong Kong. The rumors, I guess, that have been going around as to whether or not Hong Kong is poised to be opening up towards crypto. From the information that I have, that seems to be the case. That seems to be policy changes that are being made and or opening up. There's a few components that are alongside of that as well. So this idea of one state, two separate systems. We saw that closed off over the last couple of years, especially with COVID. Hong Kong seemingly took the same or similar position, it came to COVID anyways, as mainland China. We know that historically within China, there's been special economic zones, and Hong Kong, I guess, was kind of one of those, but I'm saying kind of because Hong Kong is not really part of China, but it is, but it's not. And what we saw was that there was a lot of migration from mainland China to Singapore, quite specifically in 2021 and 2022 from within the crypto space. Singapore last year overtook Hong Kong in terms of financial hub. So historically, Hong Kong was number 3, and Singapore was number 4. Singapore rose a rank and went to number 3. Hong Kong dropped a rank, went to number 4. Supply chain, etc. Like there's a lot of factors that would go into this, and it seems like Hong Kong is reopening or is trying to position itself as, again, in a way, a special economic zone or as a hub for foreign investment / innovation / right, an international financial hub. So in terms of everything I've just said has nothing to do with the CCP. I have no insight into that. All I know is it seems as though the rumors that Hong Kong is reopening up, and that date of June 1st that's been touting, I've heard on the ground that seems to be realistic, or that seems to be weight behind that. I also saw, and I believe it's public, I'll try to find where, but I think it's on the Hong Kong website. Let me try to find that. Hold on a second. Let me try to find where I saw that. I'll try to post it when I find it, but it seems like Hong Kong government has also put out information about their Web3 involvement and what they plan on. Yeah, there you go, on budget.gov.hk, how they plan on assigning funds towards Web3 and such. So that is public. But again, that, as far as I understand, that's nothing to do with the CCP.
Okay.
And if it does, again, I have no insight in that. So I really don't know what to comment on that front.
All right. Thank you.
All right, back to AI images. Please, Hernan, please never ever post AI children. Oh my God, that's scary. I don't like it at all. Tony coming in with a nice picture of Maria boat. I don't know if this is Photoshop or a real picture. Who knows? Who knows what's real, what's not these days, really. Awesome. More Pomelo themed rugged Marias coming in from Daniel Keys. Those are great. Oh, power just flickered for Tony. All right, guys. F in the chats for Tony's power. It's about to go out. Hopefully it comes back soon enough. Good luck to everyone in the way of the storm. Pocket deuces. It's not a great hand, Tony. Liking the rug Maria's from Lovejoy here. Seems like she's actively running away from the rugs or something. Seems like action-packed pictures. I like it. Of course people are going to go all in against you, Tony. You only have a pair of twos. I need to activate my loops. Andrew borrowed my soundboard last week and now all my settings are reset. Lame. All right, we're going to give it another minute or two, and then I think we're going to wrap it up. Veronica plugging the testnet.hub.boyd.com one last time. Boyd Frontier. We will try it out. Lewis asking if the CCID chart, if it's official. It's officially from the CCID, yes. And EOS is ranked number 1 on every of those 27 times that they published rankings, if I remember correctly. Yeah, CCID's official link. Yeah, Max posted it for us a bit higher here in the chat. Let me go find it for you. There it is. Peace, Tony. May the force of electricity be with you.
Pomelo update. Well, not really an update. What's the word? I don't know. I'm losing the word I'm looking for. But word to the wise. If so, something we did new this season for Pomelo is you were able to create a draft of your grant prior to applications being open. So if you had created a draft before this morning, make sure that you don't forget to actually submit that draft. So if you've saved it prior to today, it should be saved there, ready to go, but you need to still log in and hit that submit button to join season 5.
There you go. Friendly reminder from the CEO of Pomelo. What's so funny, Lovejoy?
Oh, you'll see in a second. It's just
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Working that AI.
Or AI.
Yeah. Having fun with the studio in the style of Studio Ghibli prompt.
What is Studio Ghibli?
Spirited Away. A lot of the great animated features from Japan with Miyazaki and trying to remember all the people that put it together. But if you look up Studio Ghibli, GHIBLI, and you want to watch some epic animated movies, the names of which of many are escaping me now. Howl's Floating Castle is kind of a newer one.
Louis
Spirited Away
Lachine,
is probably my favorite.
One of the best animation studios for anime in the world.
Yeah.
Denis calling the pair of twos with his pair of aces.
Oh shit.
Although I'm not sure what your 3-card poker hand of ace. What is that? A D? Is that a D for dame? Like a queen in French? AI is printing cards in French. Ace Queen 9. All right, interesting choice. And then we got a PLO hand in bottom right. Pocket aces and pocket threes. With what looks like, what are these suits? Double diamonds and tree on top of club? What the hell, AI? Yves came back with the link to the budget that he was talking about. Did he try to submit pair of threes? AI went bananas. Indeed, it did go bananas. Still kind of primitive, all this AI stuff. Shamath called it on a podcast I listened to, called it parlor tricks. He's not necessarily impressed with the state of public AIs right now. Kind of just, they're just guessing the correct word, salad that the user will recognize. But I'm sure this stuff is going to become much more powerful very quickly over the next 1, 5, 10 years. If you're not out there playing around with these AI tools, you definitely should be. Wait for V4. ChatGPT 4, I think it's coming out sooner than 2 years from what I've heard. And it's going from like 175 million categories to 1 billion or something crazy. It's live for beta. Yeah, Louis getting all up in there, early access AI tools.
175 billion to 1 trillion, which is crazy because that's bigger. Like, yeah, that's like 80 A110 GPUs. It's an insane. It's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. And imagine what the military has access to. If us plebs have access to AI going bananas for Denis. Nice. What the hell? Military is poor compared to Google and Microsoft, says Denis. All right. Well, I guess ChatGPT is truly our new overlord. All right, I think we've gone fairly off topic at this point, so we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks for joining, everyone. I'll do a little countdown. We can all say "Go EOS" together on after the countdown. So 3, 2, 1, go EOS!
Yo!
Go EOS!
Go EOS!